22nd Annual imagineNATIVE Film and Media Arts Festival welcomes you to the world's largest presentation of Indigenous film and media works. Join us October 19th to the 24th, 2021. For more information, visit us at imagineNATIVE.org.
Hello, Anin, and welcome to the second day of the 2021 imagineNATIVE Film and Media Arts Festival and to our annual art crawl. We had a wonderful opening day, and miigwech to our artists and our audiences for joining us and celebrating in the festival. My name is Nikki Little, and I'm the Artistic Director at imagineNATIVE. I'm Anishinaabe from Garden Hill First Nation in northern Manitoba. I have chin-length medium brown hair and brown eyes. Today I'm wearing a pink blazer with a white t-shirt that says First Nation Sensation, purple earrings, and red lipstick. And I'm sitting in a room surrounded by white windows on an overcast day. imagineNATIVE is located on present-day Toronto, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. We invite you to please take a moment to think of land you currently reside upon wherever you may be and acknowledge those who went before and those who have yet to come in the best way you know how. On behalf of imagineNATIVE and the festival, we'd like to thank our 2021 presenting partner, the Canada Media Fund, and for tonight's event, our co-presenter, the Indigenous Curatorial Collective, and of course our host, Joshua Whitehead. So this is part one of part two, and joining me today from imagineNATIVE is Jessie King, who's going to tell you about our special giveaway tonight. Take it away, Jessie.
Hello, my name is Jessie King. I'm the program assistant at imagineNATIVE. I'm Ojibwe from Wissahickon First Nation living in Toronto. It's a gorgeous day outside. I'm wearing an olive green suit and have short wavy hair. Welcome to the 2021 imagineNATIVE Art Crawl co-presented with the Indigenous Curatorial Collective. The Art Crawl is an annual showcase of exhibitions featuring Indigenous-made and media-based works presented in collaboration with local-run artist centers in Toronto. Each exhibition is featured on imagineNATIVE's digital space with additional information. The digital space is free and open for the duration of the festival. During the art crawl, we will be giving away our Fall Cap Bundle number 1, featuring a cozy forest green crewneck with reflective imagineNATIVE glyph sleeves, a festival toque of your choice, and this year's tote bag, featuring Berry by Hita Larder, an Inuvialuit artist from Inuvik Northwest Territories. We will be choosing our recipient through the comments section, so be sure to tell us where you're tuning in from and what your thoughts are. I'm pleased to introduce our co-presenter for the art crawl, Camille Usher, Director of the Indigenous Curatorial Collective.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Critch. I'm Mi'kmaq and settler from Almastiquek to Hamcook, also known as the Bay of Islands of Newfoundland. However, I currently live in St. John's and I'm the program coordinator with the ICCA.
Quick way, hi everyone. My name is Camille Aheve. I am based in Jolchaki, Montreal, and I am the ICCA Director of Programming. And I wish everyone a beautiful festival.
Hello, my name is Laurent Henderson. I'm the Executive Assistant at the Indigenous Curatorial Collective, and my family comes from the southwest coast of Greenland and settler heritage from France and England.
Hello, my name is Emma Steed. I am the Community Relations Manager for the ICCA. I am Anishinaabe settler, and I am from Toronto.
Hi, everyone. I'm Camille Usher. I also go by Camille Georgeson Usher. I'm the Executive Director of the ICCA, and I'm here in Toronto, but I'm originally from Galiano Island, BC. That's me. Yay! Hi, everyone.
Hello, Danse, Anin, Bonjour. Thank you, Camille, for that warm welcome. My name is Joshua Whitehead. I am an Oji Cree Two-Spirit member of Peguis First Nation, which is in Treaty 1, Manitoba. And I'm currently wearing an orange Every Child Matters sweater, and teal earrings for you tonight. I am this year's host for the 2021 Art Crawl. So, on my behalf and everyone else's, welcome to this year's Art Crawl Part 1. Every year, imagineNATIVE collaborates with local artist-run spaces in the Toronto area to present national and international exhibitions featuring Indigenous artists who continue to push boundaries and expectations of what Indigenous storytelling is. The Art Crawl began unofficially in the early 2000s and soon became a staple from 2012 onwards. Now, if we were in person, we would all be shoulder to shoulder, beverage in hand, wandering between the various galleries to meet the curators and the artists and to witness the creativity of our Indigenous global communities. This year, imagineNATIVE has put together an amazing lineup for you. I'm so excited, featuring newly commissioned video work, artist talks, walkthroughs, and a special performance. If you are interested in connecting with the artists, imagineNATIVE, the Indigenous Curatorial Collective, and myself will be hosting the Art Crawl Part 2, a speed dating network event on Thursday, October 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can find the link on the festival website. The event will be complete with a special reading of commissioned poem Speaking in Ceremony by Rosanna Raymond, aka Sistar Specific, as part of the Samoan History, Screens, and Intimacies 2, curated by Dr. Yyz Artists, which coincidentally is our first stop on the Art Crawl. imagineNATIVE has been collaborating with the A Space Gallery since 2004, and we are honored to co-present the second part of the group survey show Samoan Histories, Screens, and Intimacies 2, curated by Dr. Yyz Artists. This exhibition features a digital publication, and tonight, the premiere of Yyz's commissioned film for the Art Crawl. Let's begin, shall we?
Hello, Falava. My name is Leoli Ashragi, and I'm the Leoleo a Mersina Maviliata, curator of Samoan Histories, Screens, and Intimacies 2, Histoire, Écran, et Intimité Samoan 2. I'm tuning in from Nipoluna and the lands of the Palawa peoples, Lutruwita in the far south of Australia. I'm wearing a checkered jacket, pink t-shirt, gold jewelry, and I have brown skin, dark brown eyes, and black hair. And I'm connecting with you with a blurred background. Samoan Histories, Screens, and Intimacies 2 spans 2013 to 2021, focusing attention on artists Louisa Afor, DBA Morn, Pelina Keke Brown, Talia Smith, Christopher Ulutupu, and Brian Fuata, whose works process colonial displacement and diaspora, as well as embodied visual and performative languages. These artists attest to the complexity of navigating the present capitalist order and projecting into sovereign futurities beyond the hierarchies of race, class, power, and anthropology. Premiering right now in the Art Crawl, Yyz offers A'ano Ma'amoli 2021, an ephemeral commission that meditates on the perenniality of embodied knowledge through arresting the archive of American, German, and British documentation of Samoan and Uvean cultures. Samoan Histories, Screens, and Intimacies 2 takes place in person at A Space Gallery, 401 Richmond Street West, Suite 110, from October 19 through December 11, 2021, and online in the digital platform from October 20 to October 24, 2021. Samoan Histories, Screens, and Intimacies 2 is co-presented with A Space Gallery. Thank you.
Talofa Samoa. Tao tole pa ia mo malu. Tulanga fa alu perpeina. Ai ole a au pese.
It's very wrong to talk today that decolonization began in the 1960s. No, it began the first day that other people arrived. whangua malonga kapua whangua. O le ngu malonga kapungu. O le aiku malonga ainga. Mua ia inga mua. Mua. Oi mua maka mua. Mua. Zazingai pingiu, zazingai pingiu, zafa kuile kui. Zafa kuile kui. Lilo mayo
Oh, my creator. What an incredible piece. Congratulations, EC, and to all the artists in this seminal exhibition. Our next stop will be at Gallery 44 with an artist talk from Janine Windolf, who is a filmmaker, an educator, and storyteller who's currently working at the Banff Center for Arts and Creativity as Associate Director of Indigenous Arts, and their 2019 short film, Stories Are in Our Bones. You can watch their short film Stories Are in Our Bones for free on the In Digital space. I'll see you in a bit, okay?
Hello, my name is Lillian O'Brien Davis, and I'm the Curator of Exhibitions and Public Programs at Gallery 44 Center for Contemporary Photography, located in Toronto, Ontario. Gallery 44 acknowledges that it is situated on stolen land on the ancestral and traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat, who are the original owners and custodians of this land that they continue to inhabit today. Acknowledging the land on which we work and create is an important first step towards truth and reconciliation. However, much more needs to be done by settlers, by our government, and by us as arts practitioners to educate ourselves and others and to endeavor to end ongoing colonial violence. I'm joined today by Janine Windolf. Janine is a filmmaker, educator, and storyteller who's currently working at the Banff Center for Arts and Creativity as Associate Director of Indigenous Arts. Janine's film, Stories Are in Our Bones, is a short film centered around Janine, yourself, taking her young sons fishing on Lac Laurent with their kokum. And who is a residential school survivor who retains deep knowledge of the land. So welcome, Janine. Thank you for joining me. I'm so happy that Gallery 44 was able to program your film for the imagineNATIVE Film Festival this year. I saw your film a few years ago in Regina at the Mackenzie Art Gallery, a place that we both know very well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lillian. I'm happy to be here and actually to have my film shared. It's also nice to have the opportunity to connect once again in a new setting.
Yeah, it's really nice to be in touch. So I have a few questions for you. The first question is, how did you come to filmmaking as your medium?
My love for storytelling came early on in life. My family were always telling stories, either over the campfire or to put us to bed for the night. Mostly they were scary stories, and as kids, and even now, we still love telling stories as part of our daily life. When I was living in Laurent at a very young age, I first wanted to be a filmmaker and watched movies, and basically any movie I could get my hands on, two hands. I remember beta videos and VHS, and even now, telling my guys about DVDs seems so long ago, but those were what we had to work with. And so back to my youth, living in a small town like Laurent, Saskatchewan wasn't really a place that offered pathways to be a filmmaker. And so I looked at other roles I could be instead and thought about being a bush pilot, a teacher, and wanted to own a business. All seemed more possible back then. So after graduating from the University of Regina, I started to see that there was pathways in Saskatchewan. It just took a little bit more work, and documentary was a nice way for me to get involved in film.
Forgot I was muted. So in this film, your sons and your mother are included. And I'm curious, what has it been like bringing your sons and mother into your work?
Well, my sons have always been part of my filmmaking journey since I was pregnant with both of them. For each pregnancy, they were well documented, and over the years, they can be seen in my films. But recently, my sons have a more prominent role in the films, such as in Stories Are in Our Bones. You see them visually throughout the documentary. And so now they have a larger role in guiding their participation and the experiences that they are documented in. So I'm encouraging them to be more active in the stories they want to share with me. And my mom has always been in my movies, so she's been great for sharing and caring.
You've also worked as a statement gatherer for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Can you share a bit about how that work maybe informed the making of this film in particular?
Well, the role of deep listening and caring for communities have been two of the biggest takeaways from my time as a statement gatherer. As part of my process, the goal is to listen and to get to know the stories and the storytellers first, and then create the space for them to safely share. And that way I thoughtfully weave in an experience and think thoughtfully on the location as part of the setting that will support the story we're sharing. So it influenced my approach overall. And so in Stories Are in Our Bones, it was important to weave in 3 generations of family and to have the younger generation learn new skills from the older generation. This film was an experiential approach where we were taught as we were in production. So for this one, the desire for Corwin to learn how to fish was obviously best told on the land visually. And we wanted to capture the learning without knowing what the outcome would be. So we didn't know if they would catch a fish. And so, the narration was created a year after we shot the film. And through it, I framed my words as one of a mother to her sons. And so many times when I was at the TRC, survivors were coming in. We're often speaking from a space of healing and sometimes large gaps of time in their stories. And so a lot of the motivation for them to come in was to help the next generation understand the experiences that their generation went through, and in hopes of a more holistic understanding of themselves, their community, and how they connect in nature. And so I feel like all that shaped who I was as a filmmaker and actually defined it more.
How do you feel revisiting this film 2 years later in the current context? Has anything changed when you consider the film?
Oh, well, the main thing is my sons are now older. They're older teens. And so with that time passing, I've seen my sons grow into young men. And so it's hard for me not to notice how much time has passed since we've shot the film to presenting it online and in person as much as we could in the pandemic. And for me, though this film focuses more visually on capturing the action of reclaiming one's cultural teachings and nurturing family connections, which, for me was the most damage done due to residential schools. It was a film that reflects on joy and a lot quieter than my past films. So that was interesting for me. And when I think of my mom and how far she came in her healing journey, overcoming hardship, she always radiated like strength and generosity. And, to this day, she still carries that. And I feel the story carries that as well. And so, that's what I feel when I look at the film is it's meant to capture a time in our healing journey, but we've grown since then, which I think all films do.
Thank you so much, Janine. My last question is, do you have any upcoming projects that you could share with us?
I'm working on a documentary with the National Film Board called Waswanipi, My Maternal Home. That will feature my sons, my sister Annie, and myself going back to our reservation, which for my sons, this will be their first time. For this film, I'm featuring my Auntie Irene, who will welcome us and guide us to the land and the community. And this film was a special request from my son Delari, who wanted to go get to know his maternal family ties that felt far beyond the land he was raised in, so Saskatchewan. So this film will explore also the role of aunties and how they're second mothers to the next generation, which I think is an interesting exploration of Wahkotuan family values.
Thank you so much, Janine, for making the time to chat with me today. And I'm looking forward to welcoming you virtually to Gallery 44 for an upcoming workshop, as well as for the screening of your film, Stories Are in Our Bones. And we encourage anyone who's interested to check out our website for more information. But thanks so much. I'm really excited for your upcoming projects as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me and for imagineNATIVE sharing the film in partnership with Gallery 44. It's very exciting.
Hi. Thank you, Lillian and Janine. Our next stop will be at Yyz Artists Outlet featuring Sobeys long-listed artist Kablusiak and their solo exhibition. Kablusiak will be in conversation with YYZ Programming and Education Coordinator Muna, discussing notions of trauma, tourism, inherited histories, both familial and societal, with a slight touch of absurdity. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Muna Khan, Programming and Education Coordinator at Yyz Artists Outlet. We are an open and experimental institution that celebrates creative freedom and supports critical research while engaging local communities alongside national and international arts communities. We are an intentional open container where anybody and everybody is encouraged to execute a project. This is what makes YYZ unique to Toronto and beyond. Suvituk, Can't Be Helped Too Bad, is the title of Kablusiak's exhibition we are presenting from September 18th to November 27th, 2021. Kablusiak is an Inuvialuk artist and curator who uses Inuk ingenuity to create work in a variety of mediums, including, but not limited to, lingerie, soapstone, sharpies, bedsheets, felt, and words. This exhibition is part of the 22nd imagineNATIVE Film and Media Arts Festival and is supported by Canada Council for the Arts, Toronto Arts Council, and Ontario Arts Council.
Hi, Umanga Kablusiak. Hi, my name is Kablusiak. So there's a person who's non-binary, uses they, them pronouns, sitting in a living room wearing a plaid top, and they have a blonde mullet, and there are photo frames in the background. And I'm in my living room, sitting at my kitchen table.
So it is a pleasure to have this conversation with you on your current show here at YYZ. It's called Suvituk, Can't Be Helped Too Bad. Correct me if if I don't say
that wasn't bad.
Correct. So this show will be up until November 27th. And I would love if you could first please give me a brief introduction on what is that you do in your practice.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate having this conversation and also having a venue to show this work. So this, in my work in general, I always try to blend humor and trauma, I guess, is like a pretty straightforward way to put it. But yeah, essentially through all the stuff that I do and I make, I'm like working through trying to be like recovering diasporic, and sort of embracing like the absurdity and embracing like how awful everything is, and hopefully give space to other Indigenous folks, other Inuit, that things are shitty, but we are here, we made it this far. So, and so I always try to inject humor into my work, because that's sort of how I was raised. And it's I could ramble forever, but that's sort of a nutshell of my practice.
Perfect. Thank you very much for sharing. And can you please now walk us through your show?
The exhibition is called Suvituk. Too bad, can't be helped. The sort of premise of this exhibition, this installation, is me working through my family's experience with residential schools, and it's like the feeling of well, this happened, and now we have to deal with the aftermath. Can't be helped. So the exhibition comprises of, there's an audio component of spooky Halloween music, a Halloween yard sign that says "Beware," pressed into a block of floral foam. On a plinth, there is a doll sitting at a table. The doll is wearing an atiklok, or a parka cover. And in front of them is a plate and a cup. And they're facing a photo backdrop. And the photo backdrop is of Tuktoyaktuk Cemetery, with the names all blurred out. And the cup and the plate themselves, I'm pretty sure they're from Grolier Hall Residential School that was in Inuvik. And I feel like it's a lot of components sort of blending together. But yeah, the sort of main thing is trying to work through trauma with absurdity, because it's sometimes things are so messed up you have to laugh, right?
Yeah. And that's very interesting how people, when visitors, when they come here and laugh, it's from what you once said for Elle Canada on pop culture, social media, and modern indigeneity. I will quote you, is "We have a shared history of colonialism, but it differs in every part of Canada, and it's funny to find a common ground and be able to laugh through stuff that's really heavy." So I really think this is very interesting, how you've been able to intertwine a rural reality as the residential schools with humor, which is a characteristic of your work, and the way a lot of us are coping with these current challenging times. you create an environment where the visitor hesitates on what to feel or how to react. I think that's fascinating. And they are advised to interact and take selfies on the backdrop, which is a cemetery, as we said. And at the same time, there's a daring sign, humorously challenging, as you said, as you described at the entrance. And then this Halloween-esque sound component. So we don't know what to do. Should we laugh or cry? Should we get scared or be amused? Enjoy it or feel guilty? So can you share a little bit more on these thoughts, please?
No, you hit the nail right on the head. Like, my hope and, you know, I guess goal for this was to unsettle people, especially settlers, and sort of make people uncomfortable and sort of not know what to do. And hopefully for like Indigenous visitors who see the works, they could be like, oh, this is fucked up, but I know the feeling. And hopefully they could like find some solace. And yeah, I'm glad that you folks were able to host me in this space. And thank you again. And thank you to imagineNATIVE for, you know, being really cool and having all the sick programming.
Yeah, thank you, imagineNATIVE, as well. And thank you, Kablusiak, for having this conversation with us. See you soon.
See you.
Powerful work, Kablusiak. Always deadly, this one. Again, find out more about them either at YYZ or through the InDigital space at indigital.imaginenative.org. We are now going to connect with Hex Faye, curator, and the artists of the online exhibition of Digital Indigiqueer, Transmedia, co-presented with the Canadian Filmmakers Distribution Centre. The works featured in this exhibition have a lovely and truth-telling trace of the artist's deep connection to land and to nature. So please enjoy.
Hello and welcome. My name is Morgan Sears-Williams from the Canadian Filmmakers Distribution Centre, also known as CFMDC. CFMDC is a not-for-profit, non-commercial media arts distributor that specializes in independent artist-made work on film and video, including works from historically underrepresented communities. We advocate for a holistic understanding of production, distribution, and exhibition that prioritizes artist rights, accessibility, and the creation of new audiences through education and critical thinking. We have one of the most important collections of artist-made moving image on film in Canada, and you can visit cfmdc.org to view more of our collection and our programming website, which is cfmdc.tv. So alongside imagineNATIVE Film and Media Arts Festival, we are very excited to present this panel for the 2021 festival. And we would also like to thank the Canada Council for the Arts for their generous funding in this program. And I will now pass it on to Hex, who will introduce the online exhibition and the artist.
Cool. Hi, I'm Hex. I am the curator for this little show thingy. I call it Digital Indigiqueer. Is intended to be showcasing digital artists, Indigenous digital artists who happen to be trans. And I did like a semi-open call with folks and got these 3 amazing people. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. So yeah, I'll pass it on to, does anyone want to go first? Who feels good about going first, talking about your work and your cool stuff?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay, cool.
All right, so I'm Elijah Forbes. I use he, him pronouns. I'm from the Wakanakasing or Low Traverse Bay community of Ojawa. And the piece that I made for this exhibition was The Trees Know Where the Villages Are, which is kind of almost falls into my comics work because it's an interpretation of a single place across time, and how you at one point have our indigenous villages and then a church and then after the church. And so that's sort of like an interpretation of a really, really specific area that is close to my community. And it's actually really closely based on the Holy Childhood boarding school that was out there. And so that was sort of what I was thinking at the time, since like I think when when I was starting on this piece, it was probably like closer to a couple hundred of those graves. And so it just kind of kept going and going. And so as I was working on it, that just became more important. So that was something that I really wanted to think about with my piece, basically.
Cool, that's amazing. Thank you for that. Let's see. Do you have more that you want to talk about as far as that piece goes, or your work in general?
Sure. So the other work I do, and I guess like I already mentioned that I'm basically in a comic sphere. I've been doing a lot of work with some different publishing groups, that more anthology leaning. I am working on another graphic novel, but that's, you don't need to worry about that for a couple years. But so the most recent thing that I sort of was involved with was uh, Iron Circus. They recently did that Indigenous anthology, and so my piece is one of the ones in there. And so that's also focusing on sort of two-spirit community, that sort of thing. And in that specific comic, it's about a young two-spirit kid who is talking to an elder, and they're talking about the creation story specifically from my community. So, don't come at me if you have a different creation story. Sorry, that's just one from mine. But yeah, it talks a lot about how being two-spirit is something that brings us closer to the creator, that sort of thing. So that's sort of the themes that I use in my work. So weirdly, it's been more gallery work during the pandemic. I don't know why, but that's just happened to me a couple times. But I really am primarily like in illustration and comics. So it's sort of where all my stuff is.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I guess, does anyone else feel like going next? I'm bad at facilitating things, so.
I think I'll bounce off of what Eli had for as far as the comic piece, even though I don't have my comic qualifications of being in here. And that piece is about my realization of, or coming into recognizing I was trans in two-spirit. And so you can find that piece on our website, qualificationsofbeing.com. There's a free PDF on there. And so the piece that I ended up submitting here was a heart free. And that actually came out of some two-spirit and indigiqueer youth work that I was doing. I was teaching a media workshop. And so this was the piece that I used as an example. Actually, I shot this with the same parameters that I gave the young folks. And this is what came about. And so, yeah, I created this piece in probably about 3 hours, but dealing with the level of procrastination that I usually do, it's good to just get work out there. And so this piece and A Drive to Top Surgery, which is in the festival this year, as well as Hot Soli, which is an audio piece, yeah, are really all tying together the just get it done attitude and get it out there. Because I think we all need these stories out there, and there's no reason that we should let our egos get in the way of just creating the work that we want to do. I probably should have introduced myself as well, so I'll do that now. Hi, my name is Raven Twofeathers. I am based on Coast Salish territory, specifically Seattle, Washington. I am Cherokee, Seneca, Cayuga, and Comanche.
Awesome. Thank you, Raven. Ty, you want to go?
Yeah, definitely. Boo to the Jew, everyone. Thai Nakaz, Waswaganin and Dunjaba over here. Anishinaabe and Oneida, tribal nations. And let's see, yeah, I submitted the piece, Strong Like Flower, to folks, so check it out. I've been thinking and often think about shapeshifting, and this piece in particular, there's a whole lot of flowers, obviously, in the piece, says the title. But I was thinking about creating intimate queerness and what that means. And then also at the same time, ever evolving as a digitrans person. I've been thinking a lot about masculinity. So I've been kind of thinking about what that means as it relates to flowers, which are very important to Anishinaabe people, how to sort of explode that open in digital media and also sort of, how would you say, like glitterize it, if you will, to create a portal of understanding, as well as acceptance. So what was asked of me was, so Ty, what does it mean to have sovereignty? Someone asked me this question, a curator, Shava Florendo, and it took me by surprise a moment about what that means to me. So this was almost like a call and response answer, and I came up with Strong Like Flower to tap into some of the sexual identity as it relates to myself in relationship to flowers and my tribal entity. So really, truly a gathering of trying to make sense of it all for myself, and have jurisdiction over the world and space that I'm taking up as being identified as such. But I've been really definitely thinking about different formats. Of course, during COVID, taking it to the digital airways here, amplifying Indigenous voices and people, and currently working on a VR piece called Anaquad, which is trying to create empathy through making assumptions that everybody can invoke a type of indigiqueerness in themselves. So providing people a 360 view of an immersive experience that taps into a traditional tale about how these bears came about and how just to provide experiences. So that's a little bit about me, where I come from, the work, and Strong Like Flower.
Awesome. Thank you, Ty. Yeah. Oh, when I started, I forgot to actually like introduce myself, so I should do that real quick.
Yeah.
I'm Hex. I'm Oglala and various European folks. I'm currently coming from or based in the land of the Duwamish. Yeah, and I do some arts things and some curation things.
Thank you, Hex, Elijah, Raven, and Ty. To close out the tour is the group exhibition of Settlement Is Not Here, produced in collaboration with Settlement and Trinity Square Video. This digital occupation features 5 Indigenous artists from Turtle Island, Bitch and Stitch with Dana Danger, and this very special performance of Raven Chacon's piece, Music for 13 Paths, as part of the Parquet Projects, curated by Shani K. Parsons and presented by Gallery TPW, Trinity Square Video, and of course, imagineNATIVE. 13 chimes are hand-cut and tuned to ring at 13 pitch intervals within the 12-note Western musical scale, thus shifting the relationship between frequencies across the standard octave. Raven Chacon gestures to possibilities for sounding and listening that transcend conventions in subtle but yet very subversive ways. Coupled with the knowledge that Music for 13 Paths makes pointed symbolic reference to the Toronto Purchase, aka Treaty 13. How will we, as performers, as publics, negotiate the grounds we traverse and carry the tunes that reverberate from our individual and collective movements? So, please enjoy.
Settlement became a space that archives Indigenous art practices, relationships, stories, technology, theory, and philosophy, while disrupting colonial tropes and assumptions. With settlement moving into an online digital occupation, we are able to use innovative media approaches of idea sharing. Our art practices can now reach a global audience. This digital occupation is becoming a space to map our stories on our own terms, in a landscape unhindered by borders.
Settlement features work of Dana Danger, Damien Diney-Yaji, Raven Chacon, Candace Hopkins, Chanupahanska Luger, Laura Ortman, Sonia Keller-Combs, Tanya Willard, Emily Johnson, Jeremy Dennis, Yadika Starfields, Sterling Harjo, Marie Watt, Eric Paul Riege, Tanya Larson, Raven Halfmoon, Elisa Harkins, Haley Greenfeather English, Catherine Paul, Christine Howard Sandoval, Santiago X, Nicholas Galanin, Naniba and Adam Chacon, Rory Wakemup, Dakota Camacho, Jade Begay, Stina Hamlin, Rizal Benally, Chemist Logue, Kathy Elkelman Whitman, Ian Kuali'i, Dylan McLaughlin.
Happily, but unfortunately, that was our last stop on this year's art crawl. Again, I think we are just in the midst of this beautiful, beautiful waving of Indigenous excellence across Turtle Island and globally. And we were all so lucky to bear witness to this. So thank you, Ginanskomtin, to everyone involved tonight. Remember, you can explore these works from anywhere on the InDigital space, where they'll be up for the duration of the festival. And if you are in Toronto, the in-person hours are located on each exhibition page. Finally, I invite you to join me again tomorrow for Art Crawl Part 2 at 5 p.m. Eastern, where I will be hosting the imagineNATIVE and Indigenous Curatorial Collective speed dating networking event with some of our featured artists and curators. It's going to be deadly, so I'll see you there. Thank you to the funders for tonight's production, Canadian Heritage, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Ontario Arts Council, the Toronto Arts Council, and lead foundation Yyz. Good night and be well. I love you all, and I'll see you very, very soon, okay? Bye, Nitoten.